Here we go. Um, once again, this is Saturday, 2:00. And we are getting ready to answer your questions. I'm getting ready to answer your questions. This is Denise Martinez Scanziani, your candidate for Circuit Court Judge. Every Saturday, just a reminder, every Saturday I will be here in what's the Candidates Corner. We're live streaming to basically get the word out, remind everybody what's going on in our upcoming local elections, that we have elections August 18th. Hey, Monica, thanks for joining. We have local elections coming up August 18th, and there will be a lot of things on the ballot. There will be a lot of local elections and issues on the ballot. So make sure that you are you're doing, you're getting on there. You're either getting your absentee ballots or you're noting your calendar for early voting. So I've been receiving questions and been asked questions about my candidacy, and there's a couple of things that I wanted to express because I think that it's really difficult when judges run or candidates run for judge. It's really difficult for people to understand, well, why do I vote for a judge? Like, I don't understand. How do I go about doing this? What information do I need to know which is the candidate that I want to vote for? And I'm just going to basically give you a little bit of feedback or a little bit of what I tell and what I respond to folks when they ask me these questions. So basically, as a judicial candidate, you have to abide by the judicial canons. The judicial canons are the rules that govern the ethical behavior of judges, okay? And that applies also to judicial canons. And one of the things that I get asked often is like, well, what is your position on this issue or that issue? What is your political affiliation? And that's one of the things that we can't actually talk about. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to explain it to you because I think that it's important. It's not that no one wants to disclose it. It's just that the idea of a judge and what the judge believes personally or what the judge feels about a particular issue is something that is contrary to what a judge is supposed to do. Remember, a judge is supposed to be impartial. A judge is supposed to walk into a courtroom and make rulings based on the evidence, based on the particular facts of a particular case. So if a judge or a judicial candidate were to say, this is how I feel about X, I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to talk about it, but whatever issue, fill in the blank, then there's an idea, whether it's true or not, there's a perception that when someone walks into that particular judge's courtroom, that judge is already going to be predisposed to rule one way or another on whatever that issue is if the case in front of the judge involves that issue. So you want judges who are impartial. You want judges who are going to rule based on the law. You want judges who are going to be respectful. You want judges who understand that we want everyone, let me put it this way, everyone has the right to be seen and everyone has the right to be heard. That's due process in a nutshell. That is what it is. And so you want judges who are going to do that. You don't want judges to put in their own their own opinions, personal opinions or political opinions in any given case. So that is the big reason, that is the huge reason why we don't address those questions, because really it's not relevant. It shouldn't be relevant, right? If a judge is going to do what he or she is elected or appointed to do, then it shouldn't be relevant what the judge feels about any particular issue personally. And that is, that's what makes our justice system so great. And that's why I believe in what I'm doing. And that's why I'm here answering your questions. I'm sorry. I see my little hair here, so I have to fix it. Sorry, being real. So let's see, what else have I been asked? So they're asking me, well, how's the campaigning going? Everyone's still kind of a little bit on lockdown, even though things have been opening up. Well, first of all, I hope everyone's still staying safe. Everyone is still doing what they need to do and to, just protect yourselves and protect your loved ones. As far as the campaign is going, well, this is what I'm doing. Okay. A lot of it is social media. I'm asking, I'm asking you who are on here, and those of you who are going to see this video later, I'm asking you to tell a friend. I'm asking you to share information. I'm asking you to tell 10 friends. Everybody who's watching, if you can tell 10 friends, that's how we build this up. So I just have a couple of questions. Let's see. Okay. Well, hi, Lily. Hi, Liliana. How are you? It's so good to see you. Why is my experience important? Okay. So here's, it's a great question. And I'm going to answer this in two parts. Absolutely, a judge or a judicial candidate has to be experienced in the law. I mean, there is the minimum requirement for a judge to be appointed or elected to circuit court is 5 years of practice of law. I've been doing this for over 20 years. And you want to have a judge who's experienced because you want to have a judge who knows what he or she is doing in a courtroom, right? You don't want a judge who's going to be walking into the courtroom for the first time as a judge. So I think the legal experience is really important. I think that, having those qualifications and just a reminder about myself, I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm a trial and an appellate attorney. So I've seen it from both sides. And I'm passionate about what I do, particularly in the area of marital and family law. And I'm board certified in that area. And just as a reminder, that simply means that I had to take an extra test, and the Florida bar deemed me an expert after they reviewed me for ethics and experience and all of that. So we have the legal experience, and that's important for a judge to have, right? But there's also a part of it that I think is wrapped up in this, and that's where I think I bring something new to the table, and it's life experience, right? So I think as a judge, your track record of service to your community. My first job out of law school, I graduated with honors, and I could have gone to a big firm or not. And I chose to work for legal aid. I worked for legal aid in Broward County, and I was the only bilingual staff attorney in the Senior Citizen Law Project. I dedicated my initial few years as a brand new lawyer working with a community that's one of the most vulnerable communities that we have in our community, the elderly. And so the only requirement was that my clients all had to be 65 and older. That was it. Other than that, I would help them with their domestic issues, whether it was a divorce or whatever the case may be. I would help them with landlord-tenant issues. I would help them with even sometimes just a simple, for an elderly person, just a simple application that they were kind of stuck on and trying to get some type of benefit or something like that. That was the help that I was giving, and that marked me, and it kind of set me on this path of heading to what I do now, which as the owner of my own firm, and I've been doing this for a while, and I'm specializing in marital and family law, trials and appeals. It's because I get to choose when I do pro bono work. I get to choose what the cases I take, and I want to make a difference. And so as a family lawyer in particular, it's a little bit, one of the things that I think it's important, and I believe firmly, is that if you can help one family, okay, and this is why I love family law so much, but if you can make a difference in one family, whether it's a divorce or a child abuse case or domestic violence or whatever the case may be, you've had a direct impact on our society, because that's what our society is made up. It's made up of individuals and families. And so I think that is, that's why I love what I do. My husband's a lawyer. He doesn't practice family law. He doesn't understand why I choose to practice family law. But that's because it's not cut out for everybody. But it's something that I am very passionate about. But more than that, I'm passionate about the law and respecting the law, but how the law impacts folks, how the law impacts everybody who is part of our community. And I repeat that again. I think every single person in our community, whomever you may be, you have the absolute right to be seen and to be heard in a court of law by the judge, and you need to and respect it. It doesn't matter what the case may be, because that's what our legal system is about. Our legal system provides rights to everyone across the board, and I think that as judges, we need to always be mindful of that, respectful to everybody who comes into the courtroom, no matter what. No matter what, there's a certain level of grace, I think, that's required to be a judge. There's a certain level of patience and understanding. I think that that's important to have for demeanor of a judge. So I believe that's who I am. So I'm here. And I'm sharing a little bit about myself. Hopefully you'll share with your friends and just keep the ball rolling. The elections are August 18th. And I want to say it's about 80 days away. I'm not counting, I promise, but no, it's about 80 days away. Absentee ballots are available. If there's really August, you can vote, and some people like going to the polls, and that's fine. There's early voting, but other people prefer to vote from the comfort of their own homes. So I've put on my I've shared before, and I think my committee has shared on my Facebook page, or the campaign's Facebook page, the way that you can request absentee ballots. An absentee ballot, you basically vote, you sign, you fill it out, and you send it back, and your vote gets counted. So those will start coming out to households the second week of July. So we're almost in June. I cannot believe I can't believe that it's almost June. It's incredible. But June is right around the corner. We're getting ready to gear up and just continue what we're doing, getting the word out. Hey, Sandra, thank you so very much. It's been a long time. Okay, so I've been asked, what are my values? What matters to me? Well, I think the number one value that matters to me, and it applies whether it's an issue I'm dealing with my children, or it's my work, or a case, whatever it may be, is fairness. I'm passionate about being fair. Even if my husband says, you're the defender of all, and it's not that I'm the defender of all. It's just I'm always very careful about making sure that I'm understanding what's going on the other side. So if I have, my 3 teenagers and I have a dispute there, or my husband, believes that this should be the action that needs to take place given whatever circumstance or whatever, I don't know, whatever mess they got into. I'm always kind of the voice of reason and trying to give the other side. And it's just about being fair. It's just about being fair. That's the number one thing that I'm about. Again, I'm also passionate about and prioritize above all else this notion from my legal experience, this notion that every single person who walks into a courtroom has the absolute right to be seen and to be heard. Okay, seen and heard is what I believe is what makes up our due process. So when I have a situation, one of the opinions that I'm most proud of, it was an appeal that I did, and I say this a lot because it's so important. It was an appeal that I did pro bono for a client who's a dad, and he did not have representation at the time, and he was facing on the other side the mother and the mother's attorney, and he did not have an attorney. And so one of the things that occurred in that case is I wasn't representing him at that point, but one of the things that occurred is that he, walks into court and he's getting ready to have his trial, and thank goodness there was a court reporter there to record what was happening. And when you read the transcript, when I read the transcript of what occurred, it was very clear there were only 2 people who spoke in that hearing. It was the mother's attorney and it was the judge in that case. My client had answered a couple of questions, but there was no evidence. The mother didn't testify under oath. There was, it was just all based on what the attorney was saying. Well, that's not being seen and being heard. That's not due process. So when I came into the case, I asked the judge to reconsider, and he thought that he was correct, and that's fine. That's what the judge decided in that case. But then I said, I'm going to have to take this up on appeal. And my client didn't have any money. He didn't have the resources to appeal it. But I said, I have to take this up on appeal. I will do this pro bono because that is how wrong what occurred in that case. So I'm reiterating, due process is the right to be seen and to be heard. And that's, I think, the best way to say, to define to people who don't know, who aren't lawyers, when I say I'm passionate about due process, that's what I'm talking about. The right to be seen and to be heard in a court of law. And so I took that case up on appeal, and I got an amazing opinion, and it was reversed. And the appellate court sent it back to the trial judge and said, no, judge, you need to make sure that you take the evidence. You need to hear testimony. You need to receive the evidence. You can't just take a lawyer's word for it, particularly when we're talking about something, well, in any case, but in this particular case, it was particularly painful for my client because he lost rights to his son that he had been raising. So again, I mean, I love it because I was speaking with someone, yesterday, and I was able to kind of express in a very, very informal way. When I speak about due process, that's what I mean. I mean, everyone has the right to be seen and to be heard. I also think that everyone who walks into a courtroom has the right to be treated with dignity and with respect. Okay. And what do I mean by that? I mean, well, how about the judge is punctual, the judge is on time, respecting other people's time, making sure that when something is scheduled for a particular time or date, that you're there on time and you're respectful and mindful that a lot of these people who are coming before you, whether it's the attorneys or whether it's the litigants or whomever they may be, they've taken time out of their lives, their work, school, whatever the case may be, to come here, and I think that's showing of respect, right? I think that's the basics. But besides being respectful, besides being punctual, as far as being respectful, it's how you treat others, right? It's how you interact with everyone, from the litigant, from the party, from the court reporter, from the attorneys, from your own staff, the bailiff, whoever it is, the witness, whatever it is. I think that being respectful, because really, when we're talking about judges, and I understand that it looks like they have all the power in the courtroom, but really judges are here to serve. And that's my view as a judicial candidate. That is my commitment, is to serve my community. That's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want to give back. I've been given so much, and I started out, as the first person in my family to go to college, and I started out with a working mom, working parents, and I started out basically on my own, building up what I have based on my perseverance, my passion, my desire to make a difference. And after 20 years of practicing as an attorney, now I really am ready, and I'm at the place in my life and in my career that I'm ready to turn this and give back in this way. So I just wanted to give a couple of shout outs for people who are joining us. Hi, Helena. It's good to see you. Janelle, how are you? It's been a while. Julian. Thanks everyone for joining in and listening. This is a labor of love for me. I wish I could go to forums out there and speak to everybody. I wish I could have meet and greets. I wish I could have face-to-face conversations. So I'm adapting. I'm adapting as a candidate but I don't want to let the time go by and not express and tell you. I don't want, it's not about just voting for me because, oh, you like my name or because someone told you to. It's really, I want you to believe in me. I want you to believe in my candidacy. I want you to believe in what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And I'm going to repeat that theme over and over again. I believe that I'm very qualified, not only from the legal experience, but also from my own life experience, everything that has shaped me to get to where I am. I've dedicated my career to serving and to as much involvement as I can in the community throughout the course of the years in things that I am passionate about. And what am I passionate about? It's due process. It's representing those vulnerable populations. It's about making sure that everyone has the right to be seen and to be heard in a courtroom. That is without exception. And I think that we need to, as judges who are on the bench and those who are running for judge, always remember that, because it's so fundamental. It's so fundamental to what we do as attorneys. It's so fundamental to remember that as whether you're an attorney, whether you're a party who's coming into a case, and you're involved in something, the judge holds a place to make sure. Again, and I'm going to say this again, so if you've been on with me for a little bit, you'll hear it again and again. But a judge holds that place to make sure that everyone in his or her courtroom has the right to be seen and to be heard. That is due process. That is what I'm passionate about. That is why I started representing the elderly when I first got out of law school. That is why I take appeals on a pro bono basis when there's an injustice. That's why I do guardian ad litem work on a pro bono basis. To do as much as I possibly can to make sure that everyone is seen and heard. So anyway, I'm I think I'm beating the dead horse, but this is super important to me. And that is my why. I think that's why I'm running. That's why I'm running, because I think it's one of those things that sometimes it's taken for granted. And as lawyers and well, really as judges, you're gatekeepers of that particular principle. The judges are the gatekeepers, and they're the ones who decide who gets seen and who gets heard. And I think that's important. But anyway, so as those of you who are checking in, let me just see who else is on that I haven't said hi to. Janine, Jeremy, how are you guys? Okay, well, Vanessa, I think I answered that question. Rosemary, Kira, how was everyone? Thank you for coming in. Deborah, thank you for tuning in. I know it's 2:00 on a Saturday, and I have some of you come in and come out, and I think that's great. And I thank you for taking the time, even if it's a few minutes, to listen to me. I'm here every Saturday at 2 p.m., no matter what, unless I don't know, I lose Wi-Fi maybe, but no, I don't think so, because I'm on my phone, so that's good. But every Saturday at 2:00, I'm here. I'm wanting to, as much as possible, get the word out about my campaign, Denise Martinez Scanziani. The elections are going to be August 18th. Sorry, I'm just wanting to swipe up and see. Hey, Rebecca, how are you? It's good to see you. As much as possible, get the word out. So if you've connected now and you're here live, or if you're coming in on a review of this video that's posted on the page, just remember August 18th, Denise Martinez Scanziani. I may very well be the longest name on the ballot. Martinez is me, Scanziani is my husband. It's a long name, but I'm telling you, I'm very passionate about what I'm doing, and I'm very committed to serve my community, and I'm very I was born to do this. It's one of those things. So I'm here persevering and doing it. August 18th, 2020 are the elections. We have absentee ballots that will be going out the second week of July. If you've requested them, if not, you can still request them. Let's see what else. We will have early voting. I think it's a week before the elections. There will be early voting, and then election day, August 18th, 2020. As you've joined me here today, we're about ready to get wrapped up in a couple of minutes. But as you join me, I ask just to share the information. Have friends come in and connect next Saturday. I am getting questions through email, and I am answering as much as I possibly can. Just a reminder that you can send it to connect@deniseforjudge2020.com. Send your emails, send your questions. I think it's really, really important that if I'm asking you to vote for me, that I answer your question if I can. If you've just joined in, you'll have to look back at the video, and I explained in the beginning why it is that as a judge or a judicial candidate, you can't answer every single question, or I can't answer every single question that I'm asked. And just in a nutshell, I explained it a little bit earlier, but specifically because we want judges to be impartial, because we don't want judges to take positions on a case that then when that issue comes before them, him or her in the court, they've already have an idea about how they want to rule because of their own personal because of their own personal views. So that's not what you want happening. Let's see. I have one more question here that I think I can answer before I sign off. What are ways that you are giving back to your community already? Well, I think I've touched a little bit about that earlier, but besides the pro bono work that I do as a guardian ad litem and as an attorney, I've been an attorney coach, attorney coach to high school students. Who are doing their mock trials and getting ready to, in different law studies programs. Specifically, I did that for Miami Killian High School. And I was a volunteer teen court judge. And that's another thing that it was so great because the teen court program, for those of you who don't know, when you have juveniles, kids that have gotten into trouble, they've done something not so serious, perhaps maybe it's shoplifting or something like that. They're given an opportunity, and they go through this. Not all of them, but if they qualify and they go through the program, they go to this teen court, and the attorneys are other teenagers. So the prosecutor or the defense attorney are teenagers, and then you have the jury is made up of teenagers. And then they ask for judges to volunteer, or different attorneys or different people in the community to volunteer. And so I got to do that. And I was a volunteer teen court judge. And it was amazing. It was just to see these kids like put the case on, get it together, get it done, make their recommendations to the jury. And then the jury goes out and deliberates and issues the quote unquote sentence, which is really, most of the time a public apology, writing, an essay or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of different things that they can do. But it was super rewarding. So my focus in giving back to my community has really been at the level of families, at the level of kids. My work as a high school teacher, when I was a high school teacher, that's kind of where my passion and my priority is, because I think that I firmly believe that if you can help, if you can make a difference in one family, you've really made a true difference in our society. And that's what I'm passionate about. So let's see, I think we're just about done. It's just about 2:30. Just another last minute reminder. Yes, Julian, I love that. I was born to do this. Thank you. Yes, I know. That's awesome. One of the things that I am reminding you about is next Saturday, as every Saturday until the Saturday before Election Day, I will be here at 2:00, ready to answer your questions. Please keep the questions coming. You can send them to connect@deniseforjudge2020.com. Or you can, as we've done here on a live chat, I'm happy to answer your questions. Just one favor, tell a friend, please. Tell a friend, get the word out. Let them know why you believe in my candidacy. Let them know why voting for judges is important. Let them know why this whole process is important. And then just remind them, August 18th, mark their calendars for them. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love this. I feel like, I'm really being, out there and campaigning in the virtual sense of the word. I'm going to sign off now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, next Saturday at 2:00, and Denise Martinez-Ganziani for Circuit Court Judge. I humbly ask you to allow me to serve you as your next Circuit Court Judge. Thank